Okay, so now we're ready to move on to example 2, which is going to be 2x plus 4y equals 18, and negative 3x plus y equals negative 13. So that, once again, we look to see which type we have. We don't have anything that starts x equals or y equals, so we know it's not type 1 or type 2. I don't have a zero pair already in the x's or the y's. And the x's or the y's are not exactly the same, so I know it's not type 3 or type 4. So now I'm looking to see if there's a number that I can multiply one equation by in order to create a zero pair. And then right away, I notice that I have a space in front of that y in the second equation right here. So this is going to be very similar to example 1. All I need to do is think about what number would I need to be in that space in order for it to cancel out with the y in the first equation. So since that's a positive 4, then hopefully you're thinking that we should take this second equation and multiply it by a negative 4. It's important that you make that 4 negative, because if we leave it positive, then that's not a zero pair, and that's not helpful. So when we multiply the second equation by negative 4, then this becomes 12x minus 4y equals negative 13 times negative 4 is 52. And then, of course, the first equation stays the same. So 2x plus 4y equals 18. So now that I have a zero pair, I have a positive 4y and a negative 4y. Then I know that those cancel. And then I can turn the rest into my giant addition problem and add. So 2x plus 12x is 14x, and 18 plus 52 is 70. And then from here, all I have to do is divide both sides by 14. And then 70 divided by 14 is 5. So that now I have to take that 5 and plug it into one of those equations up there. This time I think I'll do the first equation. So it was 2x, so now it becomes 2 times 5 plus 4y equals 18. And then 2 times 5 is 10, plus 4y equals 18. And then I'm going to do the wall floor, subtract 10 from both sides. And then bring down the 4y. 18 minus 10 is 8. And then one more wall floor, divide both sides by 4. And then I can see that 8 divided by 4 is 2. So y equals 2. So then the final step is to write my answer as an ordered pair. So it would be 5, 2. Okay, so that's, like I said, we were starting with some relatively easy examples. So now we're going to take this up a little notch. Okay, so now we're ready for example 3. And example 3 is 5x minus 2y equals negative 10. And 3x plus 6y equals 66. So now we don't have any equations that start x or y equals. We don't have a zero pair. We don't have two that are exactly the same. And now we also don't have a variable that doesn't have a number in front of it, like our first two examples. So now we have to look to the x's and the y's to see if there's something that we could multiply by in order to create the zero pair. So when I look at the x's, I have 3 and 5. There's nothing I can multiply 3 by to get 5. So then I look at the y's. I start with the smaller number 2, and I'm looking to see, is there 2 times something that will give me 6? And of course, we know that we could multiply 2 times 3 to get 6. So that means that I can take this equation and I can multiply it by 3, and then I'll have a zero pair. So now this first equation will become 15x minus 6y equals negative 30. And then we want the second equation to stay the same. So 3x plus 6y equals 66. And then from here, now I can see that I have a zero pair. I have a positive 6y and a negative 6y. So those cancel. And then I can add 15x plus 3x is 18x. And then negative 30 plus 66 is 36. And then it's wall, floor, divide by 18. And 36 divided by 18 is 2. So now, once again, I take that x value and I plug it into any of those equations up there to solve for y. So this time I could do the second equation. So instead of 3x, now it becomes 3 times 2 plus 6y equals 66. And now 3 times 2 is 6 plus 6y equals 66. And then it's wall, floor, subtract 6 from both sides. So that now we have 6y equals 60. And then one more wall, floor, divide both sides by 6. And 60 divided by 6 is 10. So now the final answer here is 210. Okay, so we'll do one more example to make sure you got it. So this will be the one where, as I always say, my suggestion is to pause the video and try to solve it yourself and see how well you do. So example 4 is 5x plus 2y equals negative 8, and 10x plus 15y equals 50. Okay, so at this point, hopefully you've already solved it. And to do that, the easiest way is just to go ahead and multiply this top equation by a negative 2 to create the opposite of the 10x. By multiplying by a negative 2, that will give me a negative 10x at the top. So that now I have negative 10x minus 4y equals 16. And then the second equation stays the same. So 10x plus 15y equals 50. So now that I have a zero pair, now I can go ahead and cancel those out and then add what's left. Negative 4y plus 15y is 11y. And 16 plus 50 is 66. And then all I need to do is divide both sides by 11. And 66 divided by 11 is 6. So now I take that 6 and I plug it into any of those equations up there. If I go with that first equation, then it will be 5x plus 2 times 6 equals negative 8. So now it's 5x plus 2 times 6 is 12 equals negative 8. And then wall floor, subtract 12 from both sides. So that 5x equals negative 8 minus 12 is negative 20. And then one more wall floor, divide both sides by 5. So that x equals negative 4. And then finally, my answer is negative 4, 6. Did I say example 4 was going to be the last example? I'm sorry, I lied. Sort of. I'm going to make these quick, easy examples. There's just a couple of things that I want to make sure that I go over before I end this. So in example 5 here, you can see that I have 4x minus 8y equals negative 44, and negative 12x plus 4y equals 32. So let's cut to the chase. This is obviously a type 5. We have to multiply one equation by something to create the opposites. So when I look at the x's, I can see that I could multiply the top equation by 3, and then I would have 12x and negative 12x. If I look over to the y's, I can see that I could also multiply the bottom equation by 2, and then I would create opposites for the y's. In a problem like this, it doesn't make a difference which way you choose to do it. If you want to multiply the top equation by 3, then you can go ahead and multiply the top equation by 3. If you would rather do the multiply by 2, then you can multiply the bottom equation by 2. In the end, the answer will come out the same. So sometimes it helps to make sure that you're looking at both the x's and the y's to make sure that you are solving the problem in the easiest way possible. Okay, so we don't actually have to go through and solve that. I just wanted you to know. But just in case you're an overachiever and you really want to solve that, then you go right ahead and you check back here with for the answer. Pause. Okay, the answer to that should be negative 1, 5. Okay, and then jumping to example 6. This time I have 15x plus 6y equals 3 and 5x minus 2y equals 29. So this time I can see that if I look at the x's, I could multiply the bottom equation by negative 3. That would give me a 15x and a negative 15x. Or I could multiply the bottom equation by a positive 3, and that would create the opposites in the y's. Personally, when I'm solving these, if I already have the opposite signs, like with the y's, I have the positive 6 and the negative 2, then that's usually the one that I go for. That way I don't have to risk making any silly mistakes with my negatives. So if it were me solving this, I would multiply the bottom equation by 3. That doesn't make it right. It just makes it smart. Just kidding. Mostly. All right. So I'm concluding this now. So again, if you want to be an overachiever and solve this, then you go right ahead and pause this video right now. Pause. Okay. If you did that, great. My hat's off to you. I'm not actually wearing a hat, but if I were, I would take it off for you. So in this case, then your answer should have been 3, negative 7. And that, I promise, is the last example. Thanks for sticking with me. Talk to you next time. Bye.